Hi, I'm glad you stopped by. In this video, we are going to take a look at a very important piece of evidence that is readily available, but it is overlooked, and most people never find this. This is a letter supposedly written by Ellen to Willie White. We are going to go through this and take a look at it. I'm sure you will be shocked. I'm going to make comments as we go through this because I have a hard time restraining myself from that. It's just outrageous, this letter. But this was written approximately 5 weeks after James White's death. And I'll invite your attention to the screen as we go through this letter. I consider this letter to be the single piece of evidence showing the mind, work, and time of takeover by W.C. White. It is dated 5 weeks after James' death. It passes unobserved by 99.9% of the readers of the counterfeit Spirit of Prophecy. Further comments at the end of this article. I have highlighted important points as allegedly God is using the now dead James to counsel his prophet Ellen as to what to do, how to do it, and why. This letter is blasphemy. It's titled, Ellen Dreams of James After His Death. A few days since, I was pleading with the Lord for light in regard to my duty. In the night, I dreamed I was in the carriage, driving, sitting at the right hand. Father was in the carriage, seating by my left hand. He was very pale, but calm and composed. Why shouldn't he be pale? He was dead. Why, Father, I exclaimed, I am so happy to have you by my side once more. I have felt that half of me was gone. Father, I saw you die. I saw you buried. Has the Lord pitied me and let you come back to me again, and we work together as we used to? This is blasphemy. This is outrageous that this should even... I'm amazed that the White estate did not bury this letter, but nevertheless, it is here. He looked very sad and said, The Lord knows what is best for you and for me. My work was very dear to me. We have made a mistake. We have responded to urgent invitations of our brethren to attend important meetings. We had not the heart to refuse. These meetings have worn us both more than we were aware. Our good brethren were gratified, but they did not realize that in these meetings we took upon us greater burdens than at our age we could safely carry. They will never know the result of this long-continued strain upon us. God would have had them bear the burdens we have carried for years. Our nervous energies have been continuously taxed, and then our brethren, misjudging our motives and not realizing our burdens, have weakened the action of the heart. I have made mistakes, the greatest of which was in allowing my sympathies for the people of God to lead me to take work upon me which others should have borne. Now, Ellen, calls will be made, as they have been, desiring you to attend important meetings. But as has been the case in the past, But lay this matter before God and make no response to the most earnest invitations. I believe this is evidence, this line in red here is evidence for why Willie created this letter. I do not believe that Ellen created this letter. Your life hangs, as it were, upon a thread. You must have quiet rest, freedom from all excitement, and from all disagreeable cares. We might have done a great deal for years with our pens on subjects the people need, that we have had light upon and can present before them, which others do not have. Thus you can work when your strength returns, as it will, and you can do far more with your pen than with your voice. He looked at me appealingly and said, "You will not neglect these cautions, will you, Ellen? Our people will never know under what infirmities we have labored to serve them, because our lives were interwoven with the progress of the work. But God knows it all. I regret that I have felt so deeply and labored unreasonably in emergencies, regardless of the laws of life and health. The Lord did not require us to carry so heavy burdens, and many of our brethren so few. We ought to have gone to the Pacific coast before and devoted our time and energies to writing. Will you do this now?" I believe this is further evidence of Willie's intention, and that's where they ended up in Elmshaven. Will you, as your strength returns, take your pen and write out these things we have so long anticipated, and make haste slowly? There is important matter which the people need. Make this your first business. I believe this is further evidence of what Willie's intentions were to do. You will have to speak some to the people, but shun the responsibilities which have borne us down. "Well," said I, "James, you are always to stay with me now, and we will work together." This is just blasphemy that God would use a dead person to instruct his prophet. Said he, "I stayed in Battle Creek too long. I ought to have gone to California more than 1 year ago, but I wanted to help the work and institutions at Battle Creek. I have made a mistake. Your heart is tender. You will be inclined to make the same mistakes I have made. Your life can be of use to the cause of God. Oh, those precious subjects the Lord would have had me bring before the people, precious jewels of light." I awoke, but this dream seemed so real. Now you can see and understand why I feel no duty to go to Battle Creek for the purpose of shouldering the responsibilities in General Conference. I have no duty to stand in General Conference. And I believe that sentence in this last paragraph is proof positive of Willie's intent. And then this next 4 words in one sentence, the next to the last sentence, is pure blasphemy. It says, "The Lord forbids me." This is pointing to the now dead James, that he was speaking for God. "The Lord forbids me." That is enough. And then we have a citation to the letter. And there are only 2 options to make of this letter. Ellen remained a faithful servant of God all her life, or Ellen became a servant of Satan. I believe that Ellen remained faithful for the rest of her life, even after the death of James. I believe she purified herself as both the Bible and the authenticated Spirit of Prophecy teach, and will be saved with James, both a part of the 144,000. I know that she was of that group identified on page 142 of the 1858 Great Controversy as being perfect before Christ and the Father and prepared for translation. I believe she became victorious by habit, which is another huge subject. Here's the core of why this letter could not be from Ellen, a faithful servant of God. The use of fallen angels to personate people who have died to influence the living is very well documented. This letter, which is attributed to be God's communications to his faithful prophet Ellen, is pure blasphemy. To claim the work of Satan to be the work of God is blasphemy. It is an example of the huge lengths the agents of Satan will go in war against God. This is a perfect fulfillment of Obadiah 1 and verse 1, where Edom, the home of Esau, the one who despised his spiritual birthright, rises up in battle against a female prophet of God. It is further fulfillment of testimony number 20, page 47, where God declares that the true spirit of prophecy would be removed from his people because they despised it. Ecclesiastes 9, 5, and 6 declares, "Neither have they any more a portion forever in anything that is done under the sun." The dead James has no more a portion in any part of life, including counseling Ellen. It is Satan that uses the dead by impersonating them, not God. Psalms would be 115:17. "The dead praise not the Lord, neither any that go down into silence." It would be a form of praise for the dead James to counsel Ellen. I believe W.C. White created this letter for his own purposes, perhaps intending one day to go back and destroy it, but living got in the way. It was forgotten, and death claimed his time. Another found it and put it with his papers, and God caused this evidence to be brought to light to prove to the believing a big source of the counterfeit spirit of prophecy. And then we have a new note down here, April 16, 2011, where I found in the book by Arthur White, The Retirement Years, 1990. This letter is there on page 161, paragraph 1. Now, if you would like a copy, a PDF copy of this paper, please email me and ask for it. It's free for the asking. I have a couple of other comments to make for you as a matter of counsel, if you will. This letter, when I first found it, was quite shocking. I was just amazed at that this should even exist. I do believe that Willie created the letter and that Ellen probably never saw it. What is going on here? This is proof that Willie is not thinking like a true Christian. And therefore, I finger him as the source, rightly so, of most of the counterfeit spirit of prophecy. There are a few other hands involved in this, certainly, but do not be discouraged. Just understand that the counterfeit spirit of prophecy is very, very, very real. Be careful. God bless your study.